And welcome back to another great episode with myself, Marcus Farry, and the amazing Priyanka V. Pandit. We are bridging international waters today with workplace mediation and commercial mediation.
Commercial mediation, yes.
I mean, we are approaching the end of our series as well, aren't we, Priyanka?
Yes, we are. It's this one and then the last episode to go.
Yeah, and we're so excited, to
So
just share
excited.
the rest of our success stories on workplace and commercial mediation and how we can make that impact really shine through to you in this episode, because it's about having, oh, sorry, Priyanka, I do apologize. This is your slide.
No, that's absolutely fine, Marcus. But yeah, what we're going to do today is we're going to explore and share with you examples from real life workplaces and businesses where we've been mediators and we've helped resolve professional disputes. And we're going to discuss with you the key factors that got success in these mediations. And we'll reflect on our roles there in guiding this dialogue and the lessons that help organizations manage conflict effectively. So if you're in a workplace or you own a business, this episode should really help you to understand how it's already happened in the real world and how you could approach your next conflict, whenever, if ever it may occur. It's wishful thinking to say that it'll hopefully never occur. It almost always does. But what we can do is certainly equip ourselves to deal with it when it does. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Marcus, I think that next one's yours. We'll start with you and a workplace conflict example.
Right, are you guys sat down for this one? So there was a huge success story from me in a recent case, start of 2026. I met two parties from a UK organization that's probably a multi-billion pound organization that literally covers pretty much England, Wales. It's a huge organization. So when this came through as a referral, I was like, right, okay. After reading the first parties, after meeting the first party, I was shocked. And I was shocked because what he said was he was going to lose his house if this doesn't work out. Lose his house. And he found out before Christmas, to 2025's Christmas, and said, I had to tell my family that we may be losing the house because if I lose this job, the way things were financially, won't be able to keep up with his mortgage payments on the delay of getting a new job.
Yeah.
And hearing that, I was like, it sounds like it was very front loaded, very, very front loaded. This conflict with the manager that's been subcontracted in or on a short-term temporary contract for the last couple of years, just to try and boost the performance in the team. And they'd never seen eye to eye. And the miscommunication was phenomenal as regards to things were being missed. No one was actually taking part in each other's team meetings anymore. And when I saw the other party, he obviously didn't know the impact it was having on this conflict on the other. I mean, these two men were very, well, let's say they're really in the position of, I'm right. And I thought, well, we can't, right, great, we've got to that point. So when we shared the expectations and we clarified it all together, it took the best part of just shy of 4 hours after seeing them both in the morning. And I think that's the benefit of doing it all in one day. It's the hardest bit is having your one-to-one, I will say, but it was quite difficult in that joint session. Bringing both attention to me, where they wanted just to say, look, can you focus on me rather than the other party while we talk about the sensitivity of this issue? And it basically allowed that expectation to be clarified together on what it looked like going forward. The emotional part was when the manager said to the person, the other party, would you like to take on a new project? And we can dedicate that to you because you feel like you're being misaligned with whatever was going on. And he was like, Yeah,
Wow.
I would like that. And I was like, the cooperation improved.
Wow.
And then they both joined the team meetings again, and they were just, I did a follow up,
Amazing.
and they were like, oh, just, I needed 5 after that one. I had to talk to my PPC. I
Yeah.
was like, can we just unfold this and unpick that? Because, yeah, that was beautiful. So, but yeah, literally,
Amazing.
oh, fantastic. Now it's your
And
turn. Commercial
yeah,
disputes
it's
examples.
yeah, but I mean, that was so wonderfully done, Marcus. I mean, can you imagine the kind of productivity levels that must have gone up because of that kind of understanding and cooperation, which sort of mediation brought about, right? I mean, and I have a story that's so similar. This is one of the most common disputes that we face in India when it comes to commercial disputes. This was a vendor client payment issue conflict,
Okay.
right? So it's a mid sized service provider who is servicing only large corporates. And it got into a dispute with one of these large corporates where invoice payments were delayed, right? So payments were made partially by the corporate and the others were withheld. There were lots of emails on follow-ups and why payments were not coming through. Legal notices were also exchanged, right? So it had really escalated where both parties were strongly positioned to sort of defend what their cause was, and the vendor felt that they were not being respected despite of having delivered everything, and that they deserved the payment, as per the invoices. And the corporate felt that the quality was inconsistent, and that's why they felt that they were not supposed to honor the invoices as they stood, and they wanted a adjustment to be made before the payments could be cleared. So what was really happening here was this was not just about the money, it was about a perception of value, right? Was the psychology of money and the communication gaps that had occurred during the delivery, because there was a lack of clarity in expectations that were being set, which both parties sort of didn't understood differently. So in the mediation, what happened was this dialogue sort of opened up, and the corporate client did acknowledge that it did have a significant delay in raising any concerns. So naturally, if the vendor would have known earlier, they could have done something about it. But because they got to know only much later,
Yeah.
and the services were already done, delivered, there was nothing that could have been resolved thereafter. And on the other side, the vendor also acknowledged that it did not, maintain reporting and updates in a regular manner, which sort of led to gaps and misunderstandings, because both sides are working with large people, a number of internal teams. So it's very easy for communication to get lost. And in all offices, people move in and then move out. So that also sort of leads to a little bit of a delay in picking up and following up. But once they both understood this perspective from each other, the conversation shifted. Instead of arguing over what had happened in the past, they also focused on what was actually delivered. They agreed on what was fair to be compensated, but beautifully they also spoke about what they would want going forward. So there was a real scope there to sort of move beyond this issue and
Yeah.
continue collaboration going forward. So in the end, the resolution that they arrived was a structured payment settlement where they agreed to timelines, in terms of reporting if there were any issues or concerns. And it was only after that box was cleared that there would be a smooth transition to payment within a stipulated timeline so that cash flows could be adjusted on both sides. And they also revised their scope. So there is SOP that was in place, the standard operating protocol. They revised it to get clarity for both sides so that expectations were not misunderstood going
Wow.
forward. And they devised a new communication protocol so that they don't have to keep reaching out to different people. They arrived on a SPOC, a special point of contact, one on each side, who would constantly coordinate internally so that communication between them would sort of stay clear. and the relationship continued stronger than before. So, I mean, what started out to sort of look like this was going to be the end of it. They were going to fight for payment, and this was going to be one of those examples where a client is lost because of dispute. Actually, ended up allowing these parties to explore what their strengths are, and now they're working. They continue to work together, and so well and seamlessly. It's almost an integrated relationship. So it's beautiful. So
That's
yeah, that was my
amazing.
example.
Honestly, that was honestly amazing, and well done. That is peace on both sides
Thank you.
going forward, right? Like,
Yeah, absolutely. Just so much more productive.
and thank you, Priyanka, for sharing like that amazing success story, because I think that's what it's all about, being a mediator. You've expressed absolute interest in both parties, and you've
Yes.
resolved what was financially impacting both sides, right? And
Yes, absolutely. I mean, business is important to everybody, right? Irrespective
yeah,
of your size, it's so important to everyone.
yeah, no, absolutely. And it's like it's that willingness to engage engage in the open dialogue when you're in that heat of the conflict, when there's money on the table, and it's the resistance of moving forward and thinking, how do we open that door so we can get back to where we were? Like, there was two businesses that was having a dispute on TikTok about sending different
Mm.
issues to each other. Now it's on social media. Now it's going public. The
Yeah.
public eye looking at it. The sides are splitting
Yes.
on both sides. It's like,
Yes.
who's in the wrong? It's huge reputational damage as well, which could fall
Absolutely.
very, very into slander, defamation cases. It's very touchy when it scales past that. So
Very true.
the respect of like the communication during the mediation sessions is absolutely paramount, just to see, feel, and think what was going on in the office, for example, on the day where payment was supposed to be made or withheld, or
Mm.
when the
Mm.
product was supposed to be sent out. And it's
Yeah.
identifying like, well,
Yep.
yeah, they've got shared interests with that, and how it can really differ from, again, both parties, and with the
Yeah.
practical solutions that you can come up with in the mediation process alone to put that
Yeah.
structure forward, like you said, betters the relationship. Oh, fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And moving the skill set from the it's like the mediator hands the tools, like all the tools of the trade, gives them to both parties, and now they can facilitate any further issues, hopefully going forward between them both, and say, look, I was in the wrong here. Well, okay, I understand that was a bad day for you. Is there anything we can move forward with and practically resolve that going forward? And this is
Yes.
it. It's the lesson. It is a lesson, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, the sooner you get yourself to identify, once you've identified that there's a problem, there's a conflict, if you have a mindset to prevent escalation and intervene early to understand it, because in the absence of understanding what the reason for the conflict is, it's near impossible to resolve it, right? And then of course it's the listening, it's the deep listening skills that we're required to you know apply to really try and understand what is happening there, and always keeping that collaborative approach in mind to see how we can move beyond this, because ending something or calling it quits is really not a solution.
Yeah.
It's going to impact both sides or all sides that are involved, right? Sometimes it's multi-party mediations. It's not just
Yeah.
one or two people. It's so many other stakeholders that can get involved, especially when we're dealing with commercial disputes that have investors on board with startups. There are other stakeholders, shareholders, there are the promoters themselves. There are the investors who there are secured lenders. So in these kind of situations, when you're dealing with cash flow issues, business issues, there's reputational harm when you go to court. Because and if you're a listed company, it the impact is multifold, because then the word gets out, the public is worried, it can shake the market. So there can be so many impacts because of that ripple effect that is caused, right? So
Yeah.
only when we decide to sort of collaborate and do this, and the beautiful thing about mediation is so confidential. You can feel free to disclose absolutely everything, and I think those people who are heads of businesses will understand this, how important it is to discreetly manage these kind of circumstances, because the markets are so sensitive to this kind of information, and it many businesses, mature businesses, will realize that they will always benefit from preserving partnerships instead of breaking them. The idea is never to break a partnership. The idea is to nurture it, grow it, keep it steady so that it becomes one of your support systems going forward. Because the idea of a business is also always to keep growing continuously. Stagnancy can be its own death in business. So mediation encourages this. It's I mean, rightly said, constructive problem solving. So those are the lessons that we can walk away with when it comes to commercial mediations.
Yeah. Well spoken, well said, and that's what I think it comes down to. It's the basics of. I know there's a lot on the table, but if we can just peel away from that and come back to the human basics of
Yeah,
the whole mediation process, and
absolutely.
that's where the workplace conflicts will be at the most highest. But if you just
Yeah,
take, I know it's hard to say because the opposing statement would be, well, I've got millions of pounds on the table and it's da, and it's
yeah,
like, if we can just come away for that for a small second and just work out how we can resolve that,
yeah,
then then becomes manageable. It restores the professional trust and it builds that
yes,
future of from where they can
yes,
cement any further issues going forward.
yes,
Like you said, it protects relationships and boosts productivity, right? So
absolutely.
yeah.
I mean, and
I
and
thought
it's not success for any one party, right? It's success for absolutely everybody involved. So
yeah.
it's such an inclusive process.
I think we should give Priyanka the reflection moment of the I
Yeah,
remember having the last one. I think I'll pop for the bridge
sure.
moment then.
Yeah,
So how
sure.
might early conversations prevent workplace conflict?
Oh, when it comes to workplace, I think it becomes equally important, isn't it? Because workplace conflict gone wrong can, I mean, very often it doesn't remain just a conflict between those two people. It can disrupt processes. It can impact project timelines, delivery timelines. The company's reputation is at stake. Even if the person involved, let's say it's an employee dispute only between, let's say, an employee and a manager, and the employees quit, but you don't know how deeply involved that employee was. Maybe you realize after the employees walked away that that employee was really the asset or the reason that this project was going as smoothly, and you don't sort of
Yeah.
see it coming when you're in that conflict. um, so an early conversation can just help everybody to understand what the challenges are. Are we setting real deadlines? Are we setting manageable expectations? Are we pushing ourselves too much? Is there support that could be given that is not being given, which is why someone feels mistreated, or not acknowledged enough or not appreciated? And these small things can really impact productivity, and many times people who are higher up the chain don't even realize it, because and it's nobody's fault, right? Many times I think in conflict we're trained to sort of think, okay, whose fault was it? But
Yeah.
really, sometimes it's nobody's fault. It's just circumstances and happenstance. And
Yeah.
and if we stop looking for someone to put the blame on, and we
Yes.
if we just look at what the problem is and how we can resolve it instead of attributing blame on someone,
Yeah.
that early
Great.
conversation can really help prevent conflict, really prevent it, not just maybe sometimes preempt it even. If you understand the people that you're working with or involved with, you can maybe even start to preempt, and then you can do things differently to make sure that we never get there. So
Literally.
yeah, that's the beauty of it.
Like it. I like it.
Which moment for you, Marcus? When best to do workplace mediation?
Right,
Oh, this
okay.
one's right up your alley.
This is right off my, this is literally me. When's the best place to do mediation? Before productivity drops. Before morale starts to dip and before productivity starts dropped. If you've noticed a small sign of conflict, which are the microaggressions, the bag slamming on the desk, the not coming back on time, maybe more sick days than one, maybe the emails and the tone of the email start to change. And
Yeah,
these are all the early signs of absence, off sick, mental stagnation in the workplace. And it's like,
yeah,
if we understand the fact that, hang on a minute, this, again, taking yourself out of the situation and reflecting and going, this is mediatable, we can work through this, and trying to
yeah,
do it with the internal mediators first. I always push, have you tried to have the conversation first? Has it gone to formal grievance? Is it on what
mm,
happened in the informal grievance? Has a conversation been had about any of these surrounding issues? It's like, maybe yeah, maybe no. Have we tried to resolve it ourselves first? No. Right. Okay. Try that. I always push the company to try and resolve it first. And if they're struggling and they need additional further help, that's where we come in and really try
yeah,
and constructively say, right,
yeah,
that neutral third party is so powerful in its own right. But I always say, have you tried to resolve it first? And if they have, usually they have, haven't they? So usually they have, I tried to
yeah,
resolve it. And this
yeah,
could be issues from, I mean, one was food being stolen from the fridge and someone not having a dinner, and then building up over time, over time, over time, and then it
yeah,
ends up in HR, and then it ends up in the full person being totally isolated from the entire
yeah,
team, and then off work sick. And when she went off work sick, it was like, well, where's this come from? You're never sick. And then it's like, mediation starts and we unfold it, we unpick it, and it was all to do with the theft of the food. That was
yeah,
basically, she had not had anything to eat that day and really was so hungry beyond belief. And then that was the moment of where the resolution came of, I'm sorry. And yeah, it was beautiful. That's the best place to mediation, when you start seeing these early signs. Yeah, sorry, I kind of
yeah.
really went on with that one.
No, but amazing.
um,
No, it just shows uh how much experience you've had to sort of have that insight to sort of tell us when the best time really is. I mean, because don't wait for it to get worse. We can really catch it before it even happens. But
that's
that's,
it.
yeah, great.
That's it.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Marcus. That was a lovely bridge moment. And thank you so
True.
much for joining us for today's episode. As always, it's been lovely, and we hope to see you for the next one. Do share your thoughts on any of your reflections or bridge moments that you've shared with us while listening to us. And we'd love to
Absolutely.
hear your success stories as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for joining us today as well, Priyanka.
Thank
And
you.
everyone else again
Thank you,
viewing.
Marcus.